Scott, you are our resident entertainment expert. I'm excited to see the movies and the clips you want me to see today. You're driving the bus, man. What's up?
All right, so I have 3 movies for you today, and they are all classics. They are all obvious when we're talking about weather-related movies, but they're going to provide us with some good conversations nonetheless.
Okay, can't wait.
Now, the first one I have up for us today is The Perfect Storm.
Oh, my.
Right.
So this was for mid-2000s?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yes.
I saw this one in theaters. Yep.
Yeah.
And I was a meteorologist at the time. I was a young meteorologist in Greenville, North Carolina.
All right.
Yeah.
So for those at home who may not be aware, The Perfect Storm, released on June 20th, 2000, The Perfect Storm tells the story of the Andrea Gale, a commercial shipping vessel that was lost at sea after being caught in what has since been referred to as The Perfect Storm of 1991. The film stars George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg, Diane Lane, William Fichtner, John C. Reilly, and is directed by Wolfgang Petersen, who coincidentally would later helm another open waters disaster movie, the 2006 remake of The Poseidon Adventure.
Okay.
So
I was wrong about my timeline a little bit.
Okay.
I was thinking that this was like mid-2000s, but this was 2000. So I would have been in school for meteorology around this time.
Okay.
Okay.
And do you remember seeing it in theaters or remember enjoying it, or like what are your lasting impressions of this movie?
I do remember it felt long, and I remember I do like Mark Wahlberg, so I was like, this is going to be a good movie, and of course it's about weather. Those were my takeaways.
Mm-hmm. It is a little bit long in the tooth, but I do feel like it sets up like we talk about the. You end up caring about the characters that are on board of this.
Yeah. Oh,
for
for sure.
the end.
For sure.
Yeah. And again, as you see here near the end of the trailer, just how bad this storm gets. Pretty crazy. Now, that was the trailer for the movie. Now, what I have next up for you is basically a scene from the movie where meteorology is at play. And I want us to talk about and it goes with all the clips that we'll be watching today, just
Okay.
how accurate all the weather terminology and things like that are.
All right.
Like, infamously, I always use the comparison, like, in the same way that Neil deGrasse Tyson, an astrophysicist, pokes holes in, like, movies like Armageddon or, like, other sci-fi movies.
Okay.
If there's any holes to be poked, I figure Chief Meteorologist Gannon Medwick would be able to do it.
All right. We'll see if we turn this into Swiss cheese.
Okay. So here is our clip from The Perfect Storm. Let's roll it. Boston.
What do you think, Star? Blue skies, scattered showers, same old, same old?
I guess this is as good as mine.
Or better.
Watch it. Wow. This doesn't look good. It's pretty ugly here, too. Pam? Tell Bernie I need 2 graphics, Bermuda and Sable Island. Look at this. We got Hurricane Grace moving north off the Atlantic seaboard. Huge. Getting massive. 2, this low, south of Sable Island, ready to explode. Look at this. 3, fresh cold front swooping down from Canada. But the darn thing's caught a ride on the jet stream and is motoring hell-bent towards the Atlantic.
Cool.
Wait, what if Hurricane Grace runs smack into it? Add to the scenario this baby off Sable Island, scrounging for energy. She'll start feeding off both the Canadian cold front and Hurricane Grace. You could be a meteorologist all your life and never see something like this. It would be a disaster of epic proportions. It would be the perfect storm.
The Perfect Storm. All right, man.
Don't you mean Perfect Storm?
Yeah, where are the Boston accents this?
Yeah, there was what is it today? Scattered showers?
Showers.
Yeah, I guess as good as mine.
All right.
So Okay, I need a Pam and I need a Bernie because I don't have that. So that was one thing. Pam, get me Bernie to get me 2 graphics. So like we're our own people. So that's one thing.
So right off the bat, like year 2000, are these images even accurate to like, you know, the type of software that a meteorologist would be using at the time, do you think?
Yeah. I
Yeah?
think it's kind of neat how they large marks at weather producers. So that's could make sense. I'm kind of taken aback by a meteorologist coming in so cold to his job that day and not realizing that there's already a hurricane, like not just having sort of like the groundwork and the foundation, and then that satellite image is perfect. That's the good resolution on that. That's accurate. All of the information and the specifics that he gleans from that satellite image, that might be a little bit of a stretch. So he's kind of like, okay, this is a low pressure and it's deepening, and then there's this and that, but for the simplicity of a movie, even if they're going to go through A, B, C, D, E, down to the jet stream, all that, I think it works. I see where they're going with that.
Okay. So I was going to say, when he lists out the 1, 2, and 3, Hurricane Grace off the Atlantic seaboard, a low off of Sable Island, ready to explode, fresh cold front swooping in from Canada. All that kind of makes sense, and if those things were to coalesce, you would get a perfect storm.
You could get that, yeah. A lot of times, we talk about cold fronts deflecting hurricanes, so they don't always. In fact, very rarely do they come together in sort of like later on. Hurricane Sandy was the same kind of situation, so they happen every once in a blue moon. So to get all that from that one satellite, that was pretty cool. That was pretty nifty of him, and hopefully Bernie came through with the graphics. That's all I can say.
Shout out to the Bernies of the world.
That's right.
Doing the work. And then that last line, like, you could be a meteorologist all your life and never see anything like this. Is that also true? Like, are these things, like, all of them happening at one time? Is that like a very rare thing to see?
Yeah, I would say so. So that alludes to the generational nature of some of these. What basically the perfect storm was a hybrid. Cold core, warm core. And Sandy came along, in 2008? That would have been close to 20 years after the perfect storm. So, yeah, once in a generational kind of situations.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving along, and also as we're moving along, we're moving backwards in time.
Okay.
I now want to take you to the year 1996 for a movie that everyone knows, Twister. All right, now, released on May 10th, 1996, Twister follows a group of storm chasers trying to deploy a scientific weather research device during a severe outbreak of tornadoes in Oklahoma. Directed by Jan de Bont, this is only his second feature film after 1994's Speed, so back-to-back bangers, in my opinion. The film has an all-star cast of Bill Paxton, Helen Hunt, Jamie Gertz, Carrie Elways, and many, many others, including a very, very young Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. So, memories of Twister.
Philip Seymour Hoffman is probably one of the first guys I come up with for that movie, and Helen Hunt too, of course.
So, like, sorry to cut you off, but like, okay, so there's a scene in the movie that I probably might insert in the post edit where he goes food, because they were all hungry. And I also have a clip of Bill Murray on air kind of mispronunciating the word food. And you know what? I am going to make myself cut that together in the post edit.
Health Department records dealing with inspections and found more than half of the food establishments had food, not cold enough.
Okay.
So everyone can enjoy that. But yes, that's one of my memories of the movie. But yes, go on.
Was that when they stopped for a little grub?
Oh, yeah.
At
the grandma's house? Yeah.
I do remember that.
There you go. There's that grub.
Yeah. Surface memories. I would have been in high school. already very interested in weather. Did not see this one in the theaters, believe it or not, but saw it probably on VHS at that point. Yeah, just a little bit later.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, such a quotable movie. Every time it starts to rain, I gotta go. We got cows. You know.
Yeah.
And you know, when I think of this movie, I automatically think of my mom. This is one of those movies where, again, back in the old days, where you know, before streaming and everything was like linear cable networks. This movie just seemed, you know, there were movies growing up that were just always on, and this movie was always on TBS or TNT on the weekend. And it's one of those movies where if it's on, no matter what point of the movie it's on, you got to stay and watch it to the end.
Yeah.
And I just think of my mom always watching this like every weekend.
It's like what Goodfellas is to gangster movies is what this is to meteorological weather-related movies.
Yes.
It's the standard bearer.
It is a perfect...
Not surprised you had it in the rundown today.
Yes. Perfect 90s action movie.
All right, what am I poking holes in?
All right. So for this one, it is basically, because it was hard, because there's no real like weather forecast in this movie. So I kind of have a bunch of clips put together from, I want to say, the National Weather Service, but they might be the wrong. I think it's on the clip as soon as we pop up what the name of this place actually is.
Okay.
So let me just play it for us. Here we go. Love the 1996 CGI graphics of outer space and planet Earth.
Accurate, though. Go satellite, geostationary,
At 7 a.m. in Oklahoma City, the temperature is 75 degrees. Across the state, skies are partly cloudy. A dry line is located in western Oklahoma. Visible satellite pictures indicate thunderstorms developing along and ahead of the dry line. Temperatures over the state were in the mid-70s to low 80s.
Bryce, take a look. The cap's already starting to break.
All the models are forecasting lifted indices from -6 to -10.
You know, if these cells keep building like this, there could be a record outbreak of tornadoes.
This is going to be a long day.
Mobile lab.
Yeah, Tony, is it me or is it main updraft shift?
Upper level winds are veering, sir.
This thing might dissipate. Do we have enough time to get in front of it?
Murphy, rotation is increasing. Shear is 90 knots, 50 outbound, 40 inbound.
Yeah, we see it. We do. We see a very pronounced hook.
Checking for you now, sir.
Dr. Miller, we're getting southeast gusts at 40 miles per hour, approaching 150 in the funnel.
Storm motion is 225 degrees, straight out of the southwest.
We're in perfect position. Let's proceed.
Excuse me, doctor. Here's your activity report. Hey, Doug.
Hey, Bryce,
What?
you better get over here and take a look at this.
Gate-to-gate velocities
They're
are
always
maxed
eating
out.
donuts.
Those two cells converge.
Was that a donut?
Inbounds and outbounds have doubled.
All right. So those were the clips kind of spliced together, but a lot of numbers, a lot of like weather statistics.
Yeah.
And again, I have the script in front of you and the closed captions on. Like,
Oh, yeah.
and anything jump out of you? Like, are we being scientifically accurate in this one?
I mean, yes.
Yes.
It's quite simply, a lot of times they mention the dry line, which is a feature of disparity in moisture that can focus supercell thunderstorms that generate tornadoes. There's references to wind shear, lifted index. A lot of these parameters are what meteorologists would be looking at, and then by extension, the storm chasers. Now the kind of juxtaposition between like them having a direct line, which I think is implied that. I don't think that is fully accurate, but for the cinema, can't hate it.
You're not talking to the National Weather Service on a daily basis?
We haven't chat,
No.
But in terms of the Severe Storms Lab, I think they would be having a full-time job and a half if they just had to communicate with individual meteorologists and storm chasers. So they kind of set out the data, and then it's like for people in the studio or on the ground to do what they will with it.
Okay. And, you know, I'm just looking over the transcript and, like, you know, rotation is increasing. Shear is 90 knots, 50 outbound, 40 inbound, southeast gusts, 40 miles an hour. Again, to a average moviegoer like myself, you could say anything and it wouldn't matter. But like again, I refer to you. Is this scientifically accurate?
Sure. The outbound and inbound refers to Doppler radar. When we're in tornado warning coverage, when we get tornadoes, we look at the velocity, and you look for outbound velocity or away from the radar site, right next to inbound velocity, and that's the sign that you have a twist going on there, and that's your tornado, or at least rotation. So all of that would be extremely consistent.
Okay.
Let's say that.
And then let's scrub ahead right to the end here. This basically is an image that stops everyone in their tracks. What am I looking at here, and why is it catching everyone? Like, why is it stopping everyone in their tracks? And right after the scene, the ominous music plays.
Sure.
What am I looking at?
30 years ago, the radar would be a little bit lower res, but that is Oklahoma, and there is at least some attempt to show the area of outbound versus inbound velocity. Those would be that's like your fence there between the colors. And so whenever there's a little like sharp edge, then you say, okay, the rotation is tight in that area. And that's what a meteorologist would be looking at if he or she is trying to detect a tornado within a thunderstorm.
Okay.
Entirely consistent with the technology. The NEXRAD radar generation came on in the late 80s, early 90s. And so this would be in the mid 90s, and it all fits. Man. Hats off to them.
Man, so you're telling me we are now 2 for 2 in Hollywood accuracy?
Yeah, I would say exactly. Yeah, if it's pass-fail, enthusiastic pass.
All right. Well, then that takes us to our third movie today. All right, we should have just kept these headphones on the entire time. I feel like we look good.
Okay.
Yes, our third and final movie.
And they're comfy, too.
Yeah.
I would wear these all the time, actually.
Groundhog Day. Everyone's favorite movie.
I love it.
All right. Released on February 12th, 1993. Groundhog Day covers the annual Groundhog Day event in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, and a cynical television weatherman who becomes trapped in a time loop, forcing him to relive the day repeatedly and become a better person in the process. The film stars Bill Murray and Andie MacDowell and is directed by Harold Ramis, a frequent collaborator with Bill Murray, being involved in Meatballs, Caddyshack, Stripes, and Ghostbusters. So, Murderer's Row there of classic 80s comedies.
Yeah, well done. That's for sure. Happy movie. I remember thinking, like, even I was a young cat at that point. I was probably was in middle school, and so even just the idea of being able to live a day over and over to get it right was something that was great.
Yeah,
that was fantastic. We should all be so lucky.
Yeah, and this is one of those movies that. So, like, Twister and Perfect Storm, those were, bona fide hits right out the gate. This one, kind of like middle of the road in terms of, like, box office returns, but it's a classic tale of a movie that just grows over time as it finds its audience. As more and more people, like, watch it and discover it. Like, so I'm born in 87. This movie comes out when I'm 6 years old.
Okay.
I'm sure a lot of the humor, doesn't land with me, and it just speaks to, the generations that grow up after this movie came out, find it, and it's so lovable. It's such a great story. And again, especially as people that work in news and, there are times where maybe I have maybe a mean-spirited and narcissistic ego. It's nice to see, someone come full circle and become a better human in the process of this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally know what you mean.
And gosh, Bill Murray, just endlessly lovable.
Bill Murray's great. And I forgot how Andie MacDowell is gorgeous.
Yeah,
she's gorgeous. Yeah, childhood crush rekindled, I think, with this. So this is great. I probably haven't seen it in 20 years at this point.
this
here
is
in 2025.
So I was going to, I'm glad you mentioned that because I was going to ask you, is this not an annual rewatch for you? Do you not try to watch this every year around Groundhog Day?
No, life gets in the way. Unlike
Yeah.
Bill Murray, my clock just keeps ticking. And so, the days and months and years stack up. It's been a long time since I've seen this.
Okay. I will say, before we get into the clip, I will say one of the joys of working here at the station is when it is Groundhog Day, it's before we even go on the air at 5 or 6 in the morning, we have a feed to Punxsutawney every year, and it is great to just turn the volume up, and they're playing polka music through all hours of the night/morning, and it really... it gets you in a certain vibe and a certain mood, and it's a great way to start the day every year.
They're powering through hangovers for sure. I've been to Punxsutawney, not on Groundhog Day, but I went to college at Penn State, so I'm familiar with the town somewhat. It's about an hour outside of campus, and it's a charming Pennsylvania town. And to your point, really comes alive around and on Groundhog Day.
Okay. So what I'm going to show you is basically the first scene of the movie. And again, we'll do what we did for the first two, where we're kind of judging the accuracy. But it is him in front of a, not green screen, blue screen, doing a weather report. And so other than just the accuracy of everything he's saying, grade him like you would a weather intern. If he comes in and Bill Murray, he's applying for a job, not our Bill Murray, this Bill Murray. Always confusing when we do this. But if you have any pointers. Let's see. All right. So here
He's Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken. So
Somebody asked me today, Phil, if you could be anywhere in the world, where would you like to be? And I said to him, probably right here, Elko, Nevada. Our nation's high at 79 today. Out in California, they're going to have some warm weather tomorrow, gang wars, and some very overpriced real estate. Up in the Pacific Northwest, as you can see, they're going to have some very, very tall trees. It's going to be clear across the Rockies and the Great Plains mostly, but look out, here comes trouble. Oh, boy. Front coming our way. Look out. What's that going to mean to us here in the Three Rivers area? One of these big blue things, this cold, frigid Arctic air, this big mass coming out of the north. It's going to meet up with all of this moisture coming up out of the Gulf, going to mix together at high altitudes and cause some snow. Going out on a limb now, not going to hit us here in Pittsburgh, going to push off and hit Altoona. Close call, folks. Let's take a look at the 5-day. As you can see, nothing to be too scared about. Bundle up warm, of course, but I think you can leave your galoshes at home.
All right. So
I love it.
Thoughts?
The blue screen sticks out. We primarily use green screens, but my first weather gig, my first full-time gig anyway, at in Greenville, New Bern, WNCT, we had a blue wall before a green wall. So a nice electric blue tie or a shirt, that would key out. We couldn't wear that. So that the blue screen takes me back. Elko, Nevada wouldn't be ever the highest temperature in the nation, but that other stuff is fantastic because I love the tall trees and the overpriced real estate. It's hilarious. I got to remember some of those, and I do remember the thought of this sticks out. The blizzard's gonna hit Altoona, and then it hits Pittsburgh, and that's the edge of those snow shields. It's a really hairy part of winter weather forecasting, is just where the snow shuts off on the northern edge.
Yeah.
So the fact that he later, I vividly remember, they're on their way to Punxsutawney, he gets burned by his forecast.
Yeah,
is hilarious to me.
Yeah. So I was going to say, I'm trying to think how I want to phrase this. Do we blame Phil, the character, he says, don't worry, guys, there's not going to be a storm. It's going to push off to the east. And, with the limited, models that you're seeing behind him now, is that a mistake that one could make? Is it, a simple enough mistake? Or, is he just a bad weatherman that should have seen this blizzard coming?
So he does see it coming. He misjudges where the heaviest snow would set up. In the early 90s, especially with the low resolution of the models, that makes total sense. There have been snowstorms in the Carolinas where one in 2000 sticks out to me, where Raleigh was preparing for big snow and it slid off to the east instead. So it's kind of like the reverse of what what he claimed.
Mm-hmm.
So that all fits.
Yeah.
Lower resolution stuff that they were working with back then. So yeah.
And would he be a good addition to the First Alert weather team? Because I feel like something that you might tell like kids out of college is like, hey, it's not just all about the weather. You want to invoke some personality into it. And Bill Murray, plenty of personality.
Yeah, as long as he's on his P's and Q's with all the digital, he could you imagine Bill Murray being like the meteorologist here, being like, okay, well now we got to update the website, and now we got to do the app, and now we got to do social media. It's like early '90s is like what, you know? So him being teleported somehow 30 plus years in the future, there'll be a little extra thing on his plate, but his personality would be surely. And his meteorological knowledge would surely be welcome.
One thing that does stick out to me here is that, so when I used to run floor for you guys, there were times where we would have you out in the courtyard. And, you know, before we had like the proper setup, there would be times, I specifically remember Colin Hackman, because he was doing mornings when I started. He'd be like, hey, I'm going to go outside and do a hit. Can you press spacebar for me, like when I call for a certain graphic?
Sure.
And what gets me about this clip is that he has this motion graphic right here, and he just blows. But he's not holding a clicker, but somehow this thing is perfectly animated, and I wonder if that's a little fumble, or does he have his own, you know...
spacebar pusher.
Spacebar pusher, yeah.
Yeah, that's either excellent timing on his.
Right. He's not even holding a clicker, and that's another thing. Like, wouldn't he be? I mean, I know it's 1993, but you guys always hold clickers. Would he not be as well in this time?
He would have had a clicker,
and
it could have been hardwired. A lot of them were not remote in that era. Sure, that's a good eye on you, Scotty. I
did it.
Yeah,
we poked holes, everybody. It took us 3 movies, but we finally did it. Had to go back over 30 years, but we did it.
Yeah, at least some small holes. That's funny.
All right. Well, that is all the movies I have for you today, as I put back our Shooting the Breeze logo.
Man, that was a fun ride.
Right? And, you know, I wanted to, again, these were 3 obvious choices, but again, if, you know, people at home like this, let's open it up to the audience and have them drop their suggestions in the comment section. Any movie that I somehow missed or forgot, and if we ever do a round 2 of this, we'll have plenty of suggestions.
That's fun. Let's do it. Weather dips, it's like in every... At least tangentially, right? It seems. But then there are some where it's just a little more front and center. And I think you hit some of the big 3. They got to be on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, because it seems obvious to go for like the weather disaster movies. But, you know, every movie like will probably just have like a random, you know, if it's a rainy day for our like main character, they have to watch a weather report. So like there's always weather in movies.
Sure.
Sometimes you just got to dig to find them.
Yeah. Well done, Scotty. I appreciate you bringing this together.
No problem, man.